Share with you guys some quick 5-minute devotionals on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. These will also be uploaded to our website. And so again, make sure you're following us and liking us on those platforms so you can get this content delivered right to you if you're at home and you're looking for things to do. What's interesting to me, I think all of us can relate to a time where when we were kids, we didn't listen to our parents, right? Our parents often had a lot of rules and maybe things that we were supposed to do and not supposed to do. And as kids, you don't really understand why you can or cannot do certain things, and you don't always listen. And so I have plenty of examples of that. I don't know why. I can particularly think of this one time. I was homeschooled from 3rd to 7th grade, and so I think it was when I was in elementary school. And part of my schoolwork was I had to read 30 minutes a day. And at some point, I got tired of reading, I got bored of reading, and who wants to read anyway when you're a kid, right? And so for 10 minutes, I would read the book that I was supposed to read. And then for the next 20 minutes, I would play with my action figures and not do what I was supposed to do. Well, at some point, my mom found out that I wasn't reading, and so she asked me what was going on in the book, and I couldn't answer it, and I got in trouble. And I was frustrated, right? Now, the reality was it was good for me to read, not because my parents were trying to punish me, because I need to learn how to read and grow in intelligence and learn what you're supposed to learn in school. And it reminds me a little bit of what we're facing right now as a country, in the world with the coronavirus, and how the government is kind of changing some things for us. Maybe we don't like them, maybe we are happy about them, but they're changing some things about how we live, and we have to make the decision about whether we will trust and listen and obey about what they're requesting us to do, or if we will go about and live our lives as normal. I'm reminded of what Paul writes in Romans chapter 13. And he's talking about believers, followers of Jesus, submitting to their authorities. Now, this was even more radical for them because this was written at a time where Christians were being persecuted, were being harmed, were being jailed by the government above them, by the Roman Empire. And yet, here's what he says to fellow believers, chapter 13, verses 1 through 3. He says, "Let everyone submit to the governing authorities, since there is no authority except from God. And the authorities that exist are instituted by God. So then, the one who resists authority is opposing God's command, and those who oppose it will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have its approval." In other words, Paul was making this point, that honoring our authorities honors God. Honoring our authorities honors God. Now, I know some people might be thinking the government's overreacting. Why can't churches meet? For example, for a new city, until further notice, we have kind of suspended all physical gatherings. Does that seem extreme? What are we supposed to do with that? And we just need to remember that part of our witness to the world is how we react and love those who are in authorities over us. So, for example, the government is not saying that churches cannot meet and only speaking to churches. That would be a time where we would say, no, we want to honor and follow and trust in Jesus over maybe what the government is telling us to do in terms of they were asking us to do something that wasn't good. But in this situation, they're asking everybody not to meet. Restaurants are closing. All sports have been canceled. Right? They're not singling out just Christians. They're saying for the good of everybody, as we try to combat this virus, let's try to not go about our normal day and spend more time at home and less time in crowds. And so for us as followers of Jesus, we can decide, hey, we're going to do our own thing, or are we going to submit to the authority that He has placed above us as a way to honor and respect those above us and as a way to love our community. So I just want to remind us and encourage us in this time where life is looking a lot different than what we want. Maybe the kids are at home or driving you crazy. Maybe you have things and plans and trips planned that you were going to do and that have now been canceled. And while it's frustrating and while none of us are enjoying the certain circumstance that we're in, we just need to remember that one of the best ways we can honor God is to love people. And so we can love those around us. We can love those that He has placed in authority over us, and trust them to make the right decisions and honor them in that. And so remember, as life looks different right now, honoring our authorities honors God. And so let's do that to the best of our ability.